Good morning. Now that Thanksgiving is over, we're all in the mood and making preparations for Chanukah. Chanukah is coming up very soon, so even though a particular menorah that I have in mind is not up yet, I want to tell you a story about it. Maybe 40 years ago when we first came out here, I noticed on the Southern State Parkway at the Belmont State Park, which is exit 37, there was maybe a 50, 60-foot tree that was well decorated for the season. And I always wondered what it would be like to have a menorah there, because it's probably the most visible religious symbol perhaps in the whole of Long Island. There are tens of thousands, if not 100,000 cars which go by into the Southern State every single day and see that particular location. So years went by and I never really made much of an effort for it. And finally we put a shliach, we brought out a shliach, Rabbi Yonah Edelcup, who was a shliach in that area, in Babylon and part of Nassau County as well, from Massapequa. And when he came out, I said to him, Rabbi Yonah, it would be a great thing if you could pull this off to be able to bring a menorah to that particular location right next to the tree. So years went by, and no success. He said it was very difficult. He went there, he spoke to the park manager, he said that the laws with New York State parks are totally different than any other part of the state. They run their own operation and they're not obligated to do anything like that whatsoever. Religious symbols are really not part of their agenda. So we pretty much said, okay, listen, we'll see if it can happen. Finally, 2 years ago, he calls him back and says, you won't believe it, but we got a permit to do this. And I said, how did you do that? That's amazing. So he told me the following story, which I want to share with you. So he was telling about this challenge to a successful older lawyer who was in his community. And the lawyer heard what he said and said, I'm going to take this on as my project. And maybe a month later, he said, okay, Rabbi, we're ready to go. And the rabbi said, how did you do that? He said, well, I knew what I had to do, and I went to work, and I made all the right contacts. I spoke to the right people, and we got it. So Rabbi asked him, but what's going on here? How come you took this on as such a personal campaign that you had to make sure that this menorah was up? So the man said to the rabbi, Rabbi, take a seat. I want to tell you a story. My grandfather came to the United States of America in the 1920s after World War I. And he came here as a very, very Orthodox man, and he spent some time in New York City, and he really did not like what he saw as far as the future of Judaism here in America. And he happened to be here during the high holidays, and he went to Rosh Hashanah services and went to Yom Kippur services, and he felt that Judaism was very much holed up in the synagogue, and there was no way for it to really grow and become something more public that could really take on and have roots in America. Until Simchas Torah came along. And when Simchas Torah happened, he saw how there was dancing in the streets. And since there was dancing in the streets, he said, you know what? There was dancing in the streets and nobody had any negative reaction. And it seemed like everybody was having a good time. So as a result, maybe there is hope for Judaism in America. And as a result, he went over and brought his family back to live in the States. As a result, this lawyer told Rabbi Yonah, I am alive, because if they had gone back to Europe and stayed there, we all know what would have happened to them. And I am thanking God every day that here in America, we can exhibit our Judaism in public and be able to show it off and be able to be proud of our Judaism in a very public way. So when you came to me and asked me about putting up a menorah in a public place that really tens of thousands of people are going to see, and hopefully maybe 10,000 Jews as well, I said, you know what? That's a challenge that I personally owe to my grandparents and I owe to America to make sure that that gets done. So every time I see that menorah, I'm inspired. And the fact is we could all set up a menorah like that inspires us. Think of your business. Think of your friends. Think of people who don't have a menorah up in their window or don't light a menorah in their house. Think of a location where you could call a local Chabad and say, wouldn't it be nice to have a menorah, a public menorah in that particular location? And I'll help you get the permits. We still have a few weeks until Chanukah, so I do hope that you will also find a menorah in your neighborhood that can inspire you, so that you'll know that to stand proud with our Judaism, wherever we might be, in the most public of places, is something that is a gift we have here in America, and one which we should take full advantage of. Happy Chanukah. I hope you have a great couple of weeks in preparation, and see you tomorrow.